This episode is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase, go to squarespace.com and use offer code GIRLS.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Miriam and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show.
Yes, it is. What's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm just trying to tweet. Welcome to the new after show for girls. We're so excited to be back. It's a great show. We're in season 3, episode 6, Free Snacks. I'm your host, Kelly, and I've got my lovely ladies hanging out with me tonight.
Hi, Kel. Miriam
Hi.
Gonzalez.
And I'm keeping it hot and sizzling. Spicy Marnie on the mic.
What an interesting show tonight.
Yes.
It went in a direction that I didn't really think it was going to go. It was, for the most part, it was a pretty uppity, kind of like upbeat shows than what we've seen previous. I thought it was going to be a totally different, I don't know. I thought it was going to go a different way.
I honestly loved where it went because it was kind of what I was hoping for. I wasn't disappointed. Hannah is creative. She's using that brain inside that head of hers, and it's going to work in her favor, although she got a lot of reality checks this episode. And no, I like where it's going.
Yeah,
I like where it's going.
She's entering into the real world. Unfortunately, my prediction didn't come true. I thought that Adam was going to ream her this episode for what happened with her sister. And instead, it looks as if they both are starting to take some career responsibility with one another, which I'm really, really shocked. But, they're holding each other's hand along the way.
They seem to kind of glide right over that. Didn't even touch on the sister at all in this episode, which I don't necessarily, I don't think that it's gone. I'm sure it's going to come back in some way, shape, or form later on. But I just thought that was interesting that it wasn't even brought up at all in this episode.
Actually, I'm glad that it went where it went, especially with not bringing her back. That also showed the characters that they are. They're also very flaky characters. And so it's like he could be mad about one thing and then not mad about it at the next. Like when she got him arrested.
Right.
Back in the day. You know what I mean?
Like
he's mad about it, but he gets over it.
Yeah.
So kicking out his sister, who he really doesn't want to deal with. Sure, he's like, it's my responsibility, she's my responsibility, but he cares more about Hannah, and we know this from all the episodes that we've seen. And today, it was really nice to see them really just in love and happy and smushy face and excited, and he's grunting when she walks in the house and, with his typical manly craziness, and love him.
Yeah, it was really cute for sure to see their interaction. And also, at least for me, I think it showed more of how similar their characters really are, just kind of to the core. Just, just how much they really do have in common, which kind of leads into how nicely things are starting to flow now that they've both kind of let their guard down and are just being themselves with each other. I think that's what's helping them get along so well.
Absolutely. And the fact now that she's doing what she loves, he's pursuing what he wants to do, and the fact that she's working at GQ magazine for starters, although it is in the was it advertorial?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. So she's got this new gig that she, as the episode opens, she's at the coffee shop and she's quitting her job there, and Ray takes it a little hard. He gets a little irritated by it, Ray being Ray, and has his little snarky comments, and then there's some cute back and forth there. But she's, and he knows. He's like, there's no way GQ hired you as a staff writer, so who's the sponsor? So then we find out that she actually did get hired as an advertorial writer, which is basically an advertisement that's not supposed to sound like one.
For Neiman Marcus.
Which that's not a bad gig. It's still writing, right? She still has to be creative in a sense, just because it's paid placement. It's still, it's still writing.
And it's GQ.
Right.
Everyone has to start somewhere. And her start is not exactly in the most desirable spot, but it's in a really great, it's a great thing to have on your resume. It's like working at, the crappiest job and having like the resume quality, thing.
It looks good on paper.
Yes, it looks very good on paper. Doesn't matter what else it is on paper. It's nice.
Well, and I love these new characters that we met tonight. Her coworkers,
I
her
love
this.
this.
I thought it was a really good kind of like turn. Who was your favorite?
What was the name of the gentleman who doesn't like her at all?
Kevin.
I love the way that he was so committed to despising her because she reminded him of an ex. And then Joe as well. I thought Joe was hilarious. He's very cute. I thought he was going to have a crush on her. And so it kind of feels good to meet a new line of characters on the show so that way we get these other personalities that kind of gets I think pull something out of Hannah because it's not monotonous or redundant with her friends, but I like to see the dynamics of her in other relationships, and so I thought it was pretty cool to see her working in the in the workplace, having a real job and dealing with different personalities. I thought that was super cool that they're like embracing her and she's like the cool kid now.
And cool as she spells it, Kewl.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but her first work meeting that, first of all, Joe is nice, comes, introduces himself, tries to be funny at first and kind of break the ice and shows her around, introduces her to the snack room.
Do I have to
her
swipe my
favorite.
card? Do I have to swipe my card? Is it an honor system? Like, I love how excited she got over the snack room because it's Hannah. I mean, she shows up to the meeting with 2 bagels, 1 muffin, grapes, an orange, and a bunch of like, I don't know, they weren't protein bars, but they were like, what, Cliff bars or something? Yeah. Not 1, but like 4.
Well, and not only that, she like dumps it.
At least they were healthy. There's some healthy snacks in there.
2 bagels? I do that on a really
she said it
bad
wasn't all
cheat.
for her.
2 bagels and a muffin.
She was
That's
sharing.
like carb overload.
But you do when you have those snacks in front of you, no matter what the workplace is. If AfterBuzz Studio had snacks out there on the countertop, whether we're hungry or not, we're diving in.
I did
You
eat
can't even help it.
the gummy worms today.
See?
There you go. Like, I don't need sugar, but I'm going to have some gummy worms.
It's just too tempting.
It really is. I can't go in that room back there. I just can't do it. The snack room is good, but bad.
Well, and then if it's something new, she's never been in this kind of an environment, and it's really fun and it's really cool. I mean, at my job, we're like if we get coffee, so that's a pretty awesome snack room. But I definitely get that, and she even admits she thinks she went a little bit overboard, and then she was worried, do people get in trouble for taking too many snacks?
It's
She even took snacks home.
Now that was a little much. And I like how Adam kind of refers to them. He's like, it's all like sodium and like chemicals and pigeon bones. She's like, it's beef jerky. Where does he get pigeon bones from?
Too funny. That's Adam eat Adam is like, it's all just bad.
Yeah. But
She's like, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I like how when, even though she overdid it at the business meeting with all the snacks, she really brought it to the table. And I thought that when she first started talking to Karen about her overdoing it, I thought she was going to talk about her overdoing it with her ideas because it seemed like she was the only one that really had any. And people got an agreement except for Kevin with his mod hat idea. And they were like, no fedoras. And what was the other hat that they said no to?
Oh, I can't remember.
No fedoras and something else.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, but it was nice that she kept bringing more to the table and having ideas, and that's the side of Hannah that I want to see. I want to see her not only grow up and take care of her responsibility with her apartment in Adam, and throwing her dinner parties with friends just to keep in contact, but as far as being creative and knowing that you have to start somewhere, and this was her start. Now, I will say that when the reality check came in, when they were all in the snack room, that these other people that she works with have had important, things happen to them. Kevin's a poet, and Joe wrote a piece for the New Yorker when he was in college, and I forget what Karen did, but it's the fact that they've all been there, as Joe says, for forever. 3 years, 5 years, forever, and it's like the reality check sunk in with her at that point that this was her, because she goes, oh no, I'm not here forever. I don't want to work for the man. And it's like, guess what, honey? You want to pay your rent?
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I found interesting about that whole scene is that she's like, oh, sorry, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like, well, what do you think we are? And that's, then they start like listing off their accomplishments, which is great. And I think that's what really started to scare her, because it's really like, how do you go from this to that? And and being a writer is one of the hardest things to really make a living at. There's, so much competition. There's a lot of things that go into it. And being in a corporate job, it's really easy to get stuck there because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
You have, as Karen was saying, you got, the insurance,
benefits.
like all these different things, that all the benefits you get of a corporate place that you don't get when you're just, sitting at home trying to sell your writing or trying to get a deal or trying to get all of that. It's a very different life.
I also think that it was a big reality check for her as well. Once she heard that how established these people were, I mean, she only got offered an ebook and then a regular book, but not a book for real, which is why she's going to take this job. And it's like the reality check is she's not as far along as she should be. And so now she's doing this job. It's like, will she ever get to that point where she's where she wants to be? You know what I mean? And I think it like scared the bejesus out of her.
Well, it did. I like the fact that we got to see finally some type of emotion from Hannah that was a little bit of devastation, and it was a blow to, her that. Gosh, this is, and it was also her stepping outside of herself. I feel like she actually was listening to somebody else other than her own thoughts for once, absorbed it, and then, reflected on it for a moment. And I think that's what the scary part for her was. And then we see her, go through this like emotional period where she doesn't really know what she's going to do, how she's going to handle it. And she decides to do, I feel like, the Hannah thing, which is quit. So I love that she went in there, told her boss, and then she got her balls back and was like, okay, you know what? I really need this job. I appreciate her doing that because I was really going to be so disappointed. Like, Hannah, here you go again. How are you going to support yourself?
Yeah.
But she stepped back up and in an immature way, though. You can't quit and then walk back in and ask for your job back. But I thought that it was funny that her boss wasn't paying her any attention. Like, just email it to me. Let me know if you're here or not. Some people want this job.
Right. And it just, again, goes with her naive way of thinking that, as we've talked about before, how everything just kind of fell into her lap. Like, all these kind of good positions that she's been in to be able, with the ebook, with these other things. And now she's realizing, okay, it's not that easy all the time. Look at these people, look at where they're at. And, then we finally see her cry. We finally see her show emotion. And it's all about her career because that's what's the most important thing on her mind right now. That's what's going to draw the emotion out. Not a death, not, whatever. Like, that's what's going to be, like, the main thing for her. Yeah. And I liked to see that she actually stood there and was like, wow, okay, hold on. I need a second. And I like that Joe called her. Like, are you okay? Like, to check. And he's trying to pep talk her. It's like, okay, you can write at night, you can write on the weekends. And he's like, I've kind of laxed on it, but it can be done if you put in the time. Which is true, but it's tough. It's tough to try to make it as well as try to live out your dream when you have to do it simultaneously.
Well, the good thing about this is at least she's living out her dream in her field. Where this is a good opportunity for her to get some real growth with her writing and get a feel for her Carrie Bradshaw-esque, essay type thing she's trying to do. And I think this is a good place. I mean, she could be working for the man as an secretary for a lawyer, for instance. So that's a good sign.
Well, even just going from the coffee shop to this, like, at least now it's a writing job, which is,
it's a writing job with benefits.
Yeah, it's great.
And I think that for her, this, once she realizes that, which I think she kind of did a little, she's going to appreciate this start. Because for her to say, like I said, I worked at GQ and I'm a writer, huge.
Yeah, but even though the real writers at GQ get really upset about editorial versus advertorial, don't say it out loud that you work for GQ.
I love how funny Joe's character is. I think that he's going to bring a little bit of a more comedic tone too. For him to call her several times, one inquiring about Karen, and then to give Hannah a pep talk, and then saying, "Okay, lose my number." Like, he has a very witty personality. So I think that these relationships, I hope that they stay. I hope it's not just for this episode that we get to see this, because I'm really enjoying it.
Unless she loses her job, I don't see that happening. I think that that this is a good thing. She's got a good situation. This will be like her little work husband, the one that kind of pushes her along, inspires her along the way, and it's good for her. And her being happy is a really important thing, especially when she goes home and she's with Adam. I think it's just a good foundation. She's starting to build a foundation
Right.
for herself in a very positive light and surrounding herself with like-minded people.
And that's a very important thing because being around her friends that are all off in different directions, this is going to be good. She needs to be surrounded by people that are in the same field, that understand the struggles and are doing the same thing, and people, somebody that she can honestly, that can relate to her.
Absolutely.
Which I think is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, because you have, I mean, as much as we love Jessa, she's a space monkey. You have Shoshanna, she's in college still, and Marnie, who's just doesn't know what she's doing. You know, I think she's in a really good spot.
Right, and let's take it back home. Like, she goes home, she's with Adam, and then we find out, like, you know, Adam doesn't have a real job. He's going out on auditions only because he likes the challenge of it. Not that he really wants to book a job. He wants to get a real job in theory, but he likes doing all of this. And, you know, Hannah's like, well, you know what else would be fun is, like, really trying to find a job.
Yeah, I never thought that he would go down the acting role.
Right.
road.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a carpenter all his life.
Yeah, especially in New York of all places, unless you're like theater. So it's interesting that he's getting motivated to do this challenging thing of acting, although it was really funny because, you know, he's like, well, if it doesn't work out, I can sell these things. And he holds up a dream catcher.
He's making it. He's like literally like sewing his dream catcher, and he like holds it up. I can sell it on Etsy for $20.
People are, he's crazy.
Maybe he just needs to make his own website.
He does. And with that being said, this episode of Girls is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy and fast to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free trial and 10% off your purchase, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code GIRLS. I think this is a really great idea, the Squarespace, just for the fact that it's you can build your own website and it's easy to use.
That's one of the hard things is finding one of those that is very user friendly when you're not when you're not a webmaster, when that's not something that you do. And this seems like such a great tool to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I started kind of browsing through it because my website has been saying coming soon for years, literally forever. And for those of you who go to my stuff, and Squarespace really made it easy. It's like, you know, there's new designs they integrate. There's a bunch of different features. There's 24-hour, 7 days a week support.
Oh, nice.
You know, staff support, so you can get help with your websites, and it's easy because you just click and drag things and just drop them in order to create it, which is great. The cool part is it starts at only $8 a month.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's great.
That's affordable. Even Hannah can afford that.
Yeah.
Hannah and Adam can afford that.
It's $8 a month, and you can get your domain name for free if you sign up for a year.
Oh, that's a big saver.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like, the cool part is you don't have to put your credit card to do the trial. The free
Oh, you
trial.
can do it without?
Yes, you can start building your website today without putting any credit card down, and which is great because I'm like, I don't get paid till Friday.
Well, you know, it's one of those things you do the free trial, then you forget about it. All of a sudden you're charged for like the whole thing, right?
That was the Netflix for me. Although $8 is not a lot of money, so
But if you forget about it,
Yeah.
you know, that's a good thing.
But it's super easy and inexpensive, and like, it's a duh thing, especially if you're trying to create a brand for yourself. The really cool thing too is they were saying that you can use like if you're doing like a selling kind of website.
Oh, like PayPal and stuff? Can you integrate that?
I can't remember what it was. Oh, Squarespace, an e-commerce platform.
Oh, nice.
They have an e-commerce platform, which is really cool because, you know, I do like when I finally do my website, and Squarespace.com is where I'm gonna go use the code GIRLS. I can sell my stuff on there, which I really like because it's like I usually have somebody on, like a collector, go and sell my stuff on eBay for me. Now I can do it myself. So I like that they have this platform that I can use, and it easily connects your different accounts, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Google. So it's like an all-in-one thing, which is great because managing them separately makes me crazy.
I know, it's tough.
Although my Facebook is private, so I like that. But everything else, I'm like, can I tweet and Instagram? And I have to click all these buttons, so they make it really simple for you. So squarespace.com, use the offer code GIRLS, and
you get 10% off.
Yeah, 10% off, and you know, you have a really good time creating your website.
I think
Whatever it is
this
that
would
you
be a
wanna do.
good idea for Hannah, for her writing. If she were to create her own website, she could simply just write stories, books, whatever.
Integrate the dream catcher so Adams can sell it.
Put some dream catchers on there, free dream catcher with book purchase. And now she has a website selling her books, and she's still writing and still working for GQ.
Yeah.
Could be a good thing. Let's talk about Marnie and Ray.
Marnie and Ray.
I love it. I
You
love
know,
it.
I kind of
They're
like
growing
it.
on you, aren't they?
I kind of like it. I like how they fight. That's kind of like I think like if you can't fight with somebody like that, you shouldn't be in a relationship.
That's exactly
like,
what I
that's
was
a
thinking.
Passion,
You
right
have
there.
to
You
learn
know
how to fight properly. And
Yeah.
somehow, I think because they've always fought in their friendship, somehow it's easy for them to fight and like get over it quickly, which people don't do in relationships.
No.
Although they're not in relationship, they watch their, let's start from the beginning. The fact that, Hannah goes and quits, and it's just all too familiar for him because Marnie just quit as well. So I feel like he lost a little bit of control. And so the fact that he calls Marnie in this matter of fact, very formal.
He's following the protocols of a gentleman and a squire.
I think he wants to court her. He's like, you know what? I did it wrong. Okay, we did it. Awkward sex is out the way. So let me retract my steps and this time, actually pursue her and show interest because she's not going to take me seriously if I don't. But I have to play the friend card so that we're not moving too fast. And I like the fact that she says to him, "Prove it." And he decides that he's going to go over there and watch the shows with her.
And then she being stubborn. Like, they're both stubborn in such funny ways because she's like, nobody asked you to come over here. And he's like, look.
And take your shoes off at the door.
Yes.
But I feel like because he's more mature too, he's able to. Well, they kind of both are doing it, taking a little bit of accountability and quickly apologizing after they realize that they've done something wrong. And I think that that's what makes it so easier to forgive each other is because as soon as stuff comes out of their mouth, they don't let too much time pass without apologizing.
Right.
There's no filter. And because they're not dating and they've never really been friends, they're
not trying to impress each other.
It's easy to just kind of be the way that they're being, which is nice. So it's easy. And the fact that, I thought it was sweet that he brought her coffee and muffins.
From the place that he owns.
Which is where
she makes that comment.
she makes a backhanded comment, but she's the first one to, start munching on it. And I like that he showed an interest in wanting to watch The Real House of Beverly Hills with her, which I love. And it's sweet. It's like, honestly, I like that he did that because there are a lot of times, and for me personally, I've dated guys where I like crap TV, I like girl shows, I like things that interest me, and I want a guy who likes me enough to sit down and say, you know what? I'll sit and watch that with you because you like it. Just like I will sit and watch what they like.
Football, basketball, golf, whatever it may be.
Whatever, yeah.
I'll sit for a certain amount of time. It can't be an all-day affair.
There's a time limit.
There's an effort there.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's appreciated. And so I think that's why when she said prove it to him, that was a big thing. It's like, you really want to spend time with me? Show me that you're interested in me by being open to the things that I like. And it's going to be interesting to see Ray evolve in their whatever this is relationship because she likes a lot of really adult hoity-toity kind of things from art. And, I see her at cocktail parties.
But so does he. He likes to watch documentaries, and he's got a very, he's very intellectual to a certain degree. Like, he might be lazy, which we're starting to see him come out of.
Yeah.
But he also has, that kind of, intellectual mind where he, she asked him, do you watch reality TV? He's like, oh, I watched this documentary on so-and-so. That's his version of reality TV. So I think that together is gonna kind of mesh well because she has that kind of mentality herself where she likes those certain things. And I think that's a good kind of thing for them. And I like the fact that they're not trying to impress each other. So when they fight, they're literally saying exactly what's on their mind.
Yeah.
Which is very rare that you find in a new kind of budding whatever, whether it be a friendship or a relationship. People are usually really guarded and they kind of beat around the bush. And this is just not really that. They're literally just saying what's on top of their mind. Whether, and then stepping back and having to apologize or whatever for it. But the fact is that they're not holding back. And, I like it.
I really like that because there's nothing more annoying than going and meeting someone and starting to date someone or talk to someone and they're full of shit.
Yes. Passive aggressiveness is I hate it. It's the worst.
Lying about who you are
for no
or what
reason.
you're doing. It's like, why do you feel like you need to impress me? They don't feel that need to impress one another. And I so appreciate it. Guys, don't try to impress, please.
You don't have to be that rude, but just be yourself.
Be yourself. I mean, come on. If you're doing something, be proud of whatever it is that you're doing. Accept me for who I am and what I'm doing. It's all good.
Well, and of course it leads to sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
especially if you're honest.
Well, to a sleepover, I think.
It was middle of the day. I don't think it was
Right,
a
but then the next day when they go to lunch, she's like, "Don't you have to work?"
Oh, so it did lead to a sleepover.
Either they met up the next morning, or he stayed over because he says that he called in and had somebody open for him.
Gotcha. That is the most naked we have ever seen Marnie.
Their sex did not look amazingly tempting by any means.
It still looked a little awkward.
But Marnie looked to be enjoying herself. Her face expression had an expression of, "Oh, this feels good."
Because Raisin Manny knows where to hit it, which is nice.
But it looked like very still sex.
No, and that's the thing. It was very missionary, and the way that they were positioned. I think that's a normal type thing. Except for some people, when you like each other, you'll be making out instead of talking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was still a little bit awkward and just physical versus that intimacy of, I think a lot of people think or take it the more you make out is a little bit more intimate than just kind of doing the deed.
Yeah.
Which is, I've heard people say, which is a really interesting thing. Yeah, it's a little bit more affectionate when you're actually making out and stuff than, whatever.
Not necessarily.
No, I'm just saying I've actually heard guys that will tell me that. When they just want to sleep with somebody, they don't kiss. And it's a really interesting thing.
Oh, interesting.
I have a friend that will absolutely not kiss a girl that he just wants to sleep with. I was like, how do you even get there? I don't understand. How do you get there without kissing? I don't know.
It's too intimate or whatever. But
absolutely.
When you are
that makes me happy.
You've been kissed by everybody.
Not everyone. I'm not a whore.
But that's why
the guys you're sleeping with.
So that's why I say I was looking at that, and it seems they're talking. It seemed still a little bit awkward, and just more so about the sex versus the intimate part of it.
Well, his talking though, if you listen to the conversation, he was apologizing to her,
which is still awkward. So they're not that comfortable yet.
To me, I think that him apologizing, and I think this is for past indiscretions. That's what it sounded like between the two of them.
What was he
Past
saying sorry
interaction.
for?
Well, what I thought it was, he was saying, "Sorry, I think I slipped out." And he was trying to reposition. Did I
didn't get that. I thought he was saying sorry
and
for
she was
something
like,
else.
"Oh, wait, go." I thought they were physically talking about what was happening at that moment. I didn't get it as I'm going to have to rewatch that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I really thought it was mechanics
and-
that they were talking about.
I was a little distracted. There was a lot going on.
There's a bunch of gray ass in your face.
I'm not used to seeing anybody naked but Hannah. We did not see her naked this episode.
No, we saw a lot of other people naked this episode aside from her.
She decided she was going to be clothed on this one.
Yes, yes. So we have that going on.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say we saw another sex scene too, though.
Yes.
Right, we did. But hold on, right before we go there, I thought it was interesting seeing Shoshanna watching Ray and getting kind of intrigued by his growth since they broke up.
Well, the fact that he's being written about now in publications.
Not only that, but he commands, authority on the basketball court. What did she say?
She's borderline stalking him.
Oh, yeah, she's doing the Marnie thing.
Based on what she read, it's exactly that.
I see what I gave up looking kind of good over there.
Well, you know what? I find it interesting because I've seen this happen before. You're dating a guy, he's kind of meh about his life, and then all of a sudden you give him the verbal kick in the ass and break apart. Then all of a sudden they're freaking successful. You're like, what the hell, dude?
I know.
Why couldn't you be that when you were with me?
It's I'm tired of making these guys get their crap together.
I ain't got time for that. You need to come fully packaged already because I just don't have time
But
for
it
it.
was interesting to see that she's watching him. She's intrigued by all of that, but yet she doesn't necessarily say she wants to go back. She's just kind of huh. And kind of seeing the difference and now realizing, okay, I've got to get it together. Because she even says, my life is a mess and look at him. And now she's interviewing potential boyfriends in the library.
I think this is a guy that she's been doing for a minute. And because, she's been on a little sexcapade throughout the college campus. And I think that with her talking to this guy, she picked him. She's like, he may be dumb, which I think in her mind she feels she can control. And he knows it, too. He's like, yeah, I heard that you thought I was dumb and couldn't find the library, which obviously I made it here.
And I like how she was like, no, that's not true. And I totally think you can tie your shoes.
So she has had sex with him before then?
Yes.
I
thought that was their first time.
I thought it was too. I didn't get that from them.
I think that she's been with him before. Now she just decided to pick him and say, I'm sorry, I want you to be my boyfriend. because
Okay.
I can control the situation.
Well, and their sex scene was pretty awkward. She's like giving him rules, like if something totally different, like about relationship rules, as he's got her bent over the couch. And then he's like, do you want me to stop? Can't we talk about this later? And she's like, no, the sex doesn't have to stop just because we're not meant for each other.
But even the cuddling and the comments that she was making about like cuddling, like I think that was their first time. I think that I took that he was somebody who had been interested in her, you know, obviously who wanted to date her. And she's saying, I'm not looking for meaningless relationships, so we have to be together if we want the relationship, you know, if we want this to go to the next level.
4
and
days.
I think he was agreeing to that.
Yeah, 4 days a week, and they need to play board games and all kinds of things.
They
and
basically need to have a real relationship.
Yeah,
they need to like spend quality time together.
she's establishing all of these relationship ground rules in the middle of being bent over doggy style. Not exactly the appropriate time to talk about that. And he kind of says something. And although I like when he she finally gets into it or whatever and says snuggling, he's like, oh, I like to snuggle. And then she's like, pull my hair harder, which totally turns him on.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, and then she's like, thank you. That's how he does it. That was just like
Only
really
Shoshanna.
Yeah, only Shoshanna.
That sex scene would have been amazing minus the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a perv.
Well, and then, okay, so that's what's going on in Shoshanna's
Yeah.
life. We wanted to see a little bit more of her, as you said.
Yes.
Last, so we did. We actually got to see a lot more of her physically in this episode. But then Jessa, she actually got the job at the children's clothing store.
She's so, what's the word for her? Like,
Lost.
yeah,
She pulls out this little baby dress. It's clearly for like a 6 to 12, like a 6 to 12-month-old baby, this little dress. And this mother comes in looking for a christening dress. And she's like, well, aren't they usually white? And she's like, no, not the chic ones. And she's like, well, isn't that a little small for a 1-year-old? She's like, only if the kid's morbidly obese.
She lives in her own little like bubble.
And she's like, I'll just take it. It's clearly not. Can it fit? Does the tag not have sizes? Like, what's going on here? But she's still so just Jessa. It's hilarious.
she's dark. She's dark, and in a getting a touch of innocence is not really
Not
happening.
No, I think she's turning it all dark right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it kind of flips it around. And
All the little kids start wearing black around town.
that's going to be the new thing for christenings.
All chic and goth.
That's hilarious.
But I kind of want to see more of kind of what's going on with her. So I want to get more into kind of her path of, it looked like she was trying to rediscover herself and, needing this kind of touch of innocence, as she called it. And, we didn't really see too much.
Well, it's nice though because we got to see a little bit more focus on other characters. I mean, they opened the season with a lot of Jessa, and this is nice to see more Shoshanna and her life being a mess, so to speak. And I'm like, honey, you have no idea. If you think your life's a mess, that's crazy talk. You're in college and you're having fun. And like, you don't even need to get a job yet. So it'll be really interesting to see more of her and how she grows. But I like how Adam and Hannah are growing. And I like how Marnie is feeding off of Ray. So it'll be interesting.
What about the doppelganger scene?
I forgot about that for a second.
Dating one another is going to be very, very challenging, especially when Shoshanna finds out. I think that's going to be a devastating blow to her because she's not going to be happy with her current situation. I'll save it for predictions.
Okay.
But that's part of it, though. She's not going to be happy with these partners that she's choosing because it's not a relationship off of substance. It's off of her timeline. It's a checklist for her. And so when she sees, Marnie and Ray happy, I think that's going to devastate her.
I think that could be, for sure. Well, seeing the girls, I mean, we saw from previews for the next episode, they're going to have kind of like a girls' weekend where it looks like they're getting a timeshare, like maybe out in the Hamptons or something. There
Sounds fun.
It totally sounds fun. But, there's these 4 girls that really haven't spent much quality time together in a while that have been off on their own, paths. And then to put them all together in one space for a weekend is going to be pretty interesting, especially if we see Elijah comes back, which I think is great.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to definitely throw a wrench in that weekend for sure. So I'm excited to see kind of where that goes and what happens there, and if we see more of him coming up for the rest of the
Wow,
season.
Marnie's banging everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah. Well, let's get into predictions.
Your
perfect. Now I can
AfterBuzz
say it.
TV predictions.
Say it.
Say it, go.
I just think that that I just think that Shoshanna is going to, I don't know if Marnie's going to admit it, but I think somehow it's going to, come out, and Shoshanna is going to be, devastated, and they're going to throw it in Marnie's face that she sleeps with it. I think everybody's going to gang up on Marnie because she has slept with everybody. And so they're going to ream her. She's going to get it. And I think Jess is going to be right there with her dark self telling, her like what is internally wrong with her. And so I think that weekend is going to be extremely interesting. But I do think that Marnie and Ray have potential. And so I think that relationship is going to be interesting. But I also I'm excited to see where Adam's career goes with acting. And
yeah, he got a callback.
He got a callback. And that really is a big deal. So I'm very extremely happy for him because I know when you get a callback, you're like on cloud 9. Mm-hmm. And so I do feel bad for Hannah, though, because she fell asleep, which was kind of symbolic about, what her fear was, is that you go to this job, you lose yourself, and now you lose your passion. Mm-hmm. And, I think that was kind of a like mini manifestation of what's to come. And so I think that her writing is going to become less. And, it's going to cause additional problems in the relationship. She's going to take it out on Adam.
Okay.
I agree about the whole Shoshanna thing. She's going to be devastated, absolutely devastated when she finds out that Ray and Marnie actually have a real relationship. Mm-hmm. And we saw that tonight in tonight's episode when they're sitting there having dinner, how they fought, I think that they will grow, and Shosha's going to be just devastated. And as far as Jessie, you're right, she's going to throw it in her face. Mm-hmm. Because they've always had that kind of animosity between each other. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be the opportunity to see the angel fallen, and with, the not so great guy who she would really, everyone would think she'd wind up with. This isn't the guy. Mm-hmm. And it's going to wind up working in her favor. Now, as far as Hannah, yes, reality has sunken in, and I think she's going to have to learn to find a balance if she wants to pursue what she loves. And it's not impossible, but it's going to take away from her life. She's going to be very tired. She's going to feel, stretched out. And that's what comes with the territory. That's what happens. You become overextended and exhausted, and I'm hoping that doesn't play into their relationship, because Adam is so carefree and has time on his hand to the challenging life of an actor, which is great. But as far as, I hope this doesn't affect them.
Yes, I absolutely agree with both of you guys. I think that's some great predictions. I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. Definitely the struggle between work and living out your dreams is going to be a really tough thing. And I think, we all kind of like know what that's like and the toll that it takes. So to watch her character go through that, just kind of like with the spoiled selfishness that we've seen from her, is going to be really interesting as it goes. Yeah. But again, we saw some emotion, so maybe, we'll kind of like play into that and see, and hopefully their relationship won't suffer too much, but it will be. And maybe she'll end up taking it more out on her friends than she does on Adam, and Adam may be the savior for it. So, I mean, who knows? But
she said she misses her boyfriend.
Yeah, because she too much time with the girls is too much.
Drama. I would love to hear what our like audience and the viewers and listeners think. Yeah. Is Ray racist? Please let us know.
Yes, he said he loves Africa, but I don't know. He thinks they should, he had
Tweet
some strong
Instagram opinions. And rate us, comment on iTunes and YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can download the podcast for free on iTunes, rate and comment. Please go to YouTube and do the same. We would love to read your comments and theories and all of that, so keep it coming. Make sure to follow us here at AfterBuzz TV on all the platforms, and you can follow me at Kellie with an IE 079.
You can follow I can't talk. You can follow me on Twitter, Miriam L. Gonzalez.
And you can play with my Twitter and stroke my Instagram at spicy_Mari, SPICY_MARI.
And we will see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals. Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.